sort of simulate the way that a normal draft would roll out.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
should just get into this one. I don't know what was going on there, but I'm ready to
There's
hop into
no
this
audio.
draft.
ready we are. No worries at all. So we see the bands. We're going to start off with Ari Volibear Blitz for Ape, and then we have Viego, Swain, and Darius for the side of Sky Splitters.
Some seeming to be some target bans. Not really going for any specific role here. Just trying to make sure the players that are maining these champions aren't getting their hands on it, which does make a lot of sense, especially in a league like this one.
Right, and so the first pick here, blind, is going to be the Zeri. Well, Zeri is a champion that you can blind, but right now she's very strong. Well, she's not necessarily a champion that is always good to blind, but she's so strong right now that I believe you can get away with this. And then the response immediately from Sky Splitters is going to be Kaisa. That's a champion that can work well versus Zeri because they're both low range, and they have Hecarim that's going to go into the jungle, which is interesting. Haven't seen Hecarim for quite a while, to be honest.
I haven't either, and I'm very excited to see what they build off of this. We're going to see the Jarvan on the second pick here for Ape. Not really a lot of synergies I see here. Not doesn't seem that the Jarvan is trying to play for the bot lane, but the set we're going to see in the third pick. A lot of comfort picks, I'm sure. Not too much what I'm seeing like a pattern or what they're going for more specifically on a comp. A lot of engage though for Ape at the moment.
Yeah, and a lot of confidence too to play these champions without knowing what your opponent can pull out because these are two champions that can be countered quite hard, but I guess the eight players really are confident that they can find success with these picks regardless of what their opponents will play. Now, Hecarim against the Jarvan can be locked up in the Cataclysm if Hecarim doesn't have R, but I think in most cases Hecarim should be able to avoid J4, and not that J4 will even focus a Hecarim in the first place, will be more focused on diving that backline. But then even Kaisa with Killer Instinct can jump out of a Cataclysm if she has to and reposition. So far I do like what Sky Splitters have drafted, and I also like the Mordekaiser into the set as well.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid pick here. Just waiting for the rest of these bands to come through now. And excited to see what we got. Kane Yone. Very I'm very intrigued as those picks. Banning out another jungler for Sky Splitters. Interesting to see why they would do that. And both support bands coming out with a not Bard, just trying to stop them from getting a pretty aggressive bot lane and wanting to stop those roams. So it does make a lot of sense, as they already do have that Hecurim. Wouldn't want any more roam clear, and an Alistar to come through.
Alistair does well versus melee champions like J4 and Set, and I like how you pointed out, Claire, that they did ban, Sky Splitters did ban Kane after Jarvan was already locked in. So that leads me to believe that they thought perhaps Jarvan could go into the top lane and maybe it's a Set support, even though a Set support with the Zeri isn't the greatest of synergies, right? But I feel like they could have had that idea in the back of their mind, and that's why they went for the bans. And to round out Apes draft, they are going to grab Silas and Seraphine.
Silas and Seraphine, a lot of damage here. Silas having a lot of great ults to pick up and grab everyone really but Kaisa and Orianna to challenge that Silas in the mid lane. Just a very interesting picks all across the board here. I would have to imagine that the Silas would be pretty dominant in mid lane, especially in those early levels when Orianna doesn't really have too much damage or too much poke, really. But this bot lane is where I'm trying to take most of my attention. Just this Zeri Seraphine versus Kaisa Alistar. Both of
Yeah,
these
it,
hyperscaling.
yeah, go ahead, Claire.
No, I was just thinking that a lot of these are just gonna be a much slower start to the game, especially this Kaisa, because she does have to build up her abilities. But also with Ape,
Yeah, exactly. Both bot lanes, they do well in the late game. And Seraphine as an enchanter works well with Zeri. Not your typical pairing. It's most usually paired with something like Lulu, something like Yumi, but Seraphine as an enchanter still works fine with Zeri. And it's also a decent pick versus Alistair, who acts primarily as that disengage. If you look at Ape's bans, they did take away Nautilus, which is one of Kai'Sa's biggest synergies in the bot lane because of the dredge line, applies lots of CC, and that also applies plasma stacks, which gives Kai'Sa lots of damage. Alistair doesn't do as good of a job at engaging, and Seraphine has long range, so I think I favor Zeri Seraphine in this bot lane slightly more in terms of just the lane phase, but then outside of lane, you have Alistair, which will cause problems for Set, for Silas. They'll try and jump in, melee range, but then there's Pulverize, there's Headbutt to push them away, and you talked about the mid lane matchup too. It's pretty much just a skill matchup, I think. I think if both players are equal in skill, Orianna will win because of range. As long as she avoids the abduct, which is the chains, then she should do fine for the most part of the lane phase. It just gets scary when Silas hits 6. He can steal away ultimates. He has lower cooldowns. That's when he can start to look for more plays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to hop into this game, really see where this draft takes us.
About it, I want to say it's. I wouldn't say it's really better or worse. It has better disengage and maybe I don't know. It's less damage, but it also has good disengage and engage tools. I think it's all around a solid pick for them. And I think it's just a little less snappier than the J4. So slower engages is what I mean. So there'll be more time for Sky Splitters to react to the initiations of 8. Is actually okay. We're gonna see some trading here. Kizak gonna get onto Hayasaka. I think that's a new name. Might be a substitution or a name change of some kind. This will be their debut for me in the mid lane on the Orianna. But just some early trading. I expect to see more as the game progresses for the mid lane.
I do too, and we were talking about it, but I think that Silas, those early level trades, definitely going to favor them quite heavily. The mana costs a little bit less, and just it's easier to land your abilities so you can get up close. But yeah, I wouldn't really expect to see too much in these early minutes. But every time I say that, there's always like a bunch of kills. So maybe I should keep my mouth shut about the trades and the kills here early.
It's just a good old caster curse, Claire. That's the power that you hold. Anything you say, there's a high chance it might be the exact opposite. This is well known.
It's a good point, but we haven't really seen too much. Junglers just seeming that they want a full clear here, not going for anything, and everyone looks to be playing incredibly safe, so...
Could see 1v1 now. No, not safe anymore. Just like that. See, I told you, Claire. You say it, the exact opposite's going to happen. We just saw immediate first blood, and now we're seeing a gank in the mid lane too. Basil flashes forward, finds the twisted advance, and Kizak finishes off that kill. So the moment you said it, Claire, we got 2 kills, just like that. So there we go. That's how we're going to start off this game, and it's going to favor Ape so far. But now Smoke, I'm assuming off the teleport of Guilty Free Soul, has gotten themselves into a pretty sticky situation, and thankfully Guilty Free Soul found the kill. Otherwise, that would have been a horrific situation for the Mordekaiser, being down 2 kills and losing all that farm.
It was extremely close, Smoke. Just, a little bit more damage in there. Could have gone the other way, but Guilty Free Soul happy to pick that one up, happy to catch that wave, and it does seem that's going to crash up there on the top side, so Smoke going to be at quite the disadvantage as Guilty Free Soul is getting a lot going their way at the moment, but here in the bot lane, we're seeing this Hecuron positioning. Might have wanted to go for a gank if possible, but the ward just going to thwart any attempt of that happening.
Yep, they're going to spot out the Hecarim. They're going to stay safe. And Zeri scales very nicely, so as long as she can stay alive in this lane, gonna go for another gank attempt. They do see the Hecarim on the ward. And Phaser should be spotted out, is just gonna back right off. If Zeri can make it out of lane phase, she is, I would say, naturally stronger than Kai'Sa in the late game, is more of a traditional DPS carry, where Kai'Sa is more of an assassin style backline diving carry. So I mean, that's sort of just a little technicality. It doesn't really matter much, but Zeri nonetheless does like to avoid deaths in the lane phase and wants smooth sailing into that late game. So they'll probably just take it easy here is what I expect for the bot lane so far. But then
Yeah.
again, we talk about caster curses. Remember what happened last time.
And I think that this Zeri just having a lot more appeal for her is much easier to get a lot out. Obviously, the set, the Maokai, the Silas can all peel for them, but they also can get the shields here from the Seraphine. But that's a great poke here. And just this wave going to be crashing. Zeri needing to pick that up. Down quite a bit of CS in this trades going through mid. Just look how much damage that Silas is getting off. This Orianna can't really do anything about it, but just try your best to play safe. And at that point, you're going to be missing quite a bit of CS. So really got to pick your poison here.
Yeah, this is how this lane really goes. It's actually, Kio's actually made their way into this mid lane. They did miss the headbutt pulverize, and Hayasaka's very scared of Kizak turning onto him, going to jump onto Kio, who pops the ignite just to try and scare Kizak away, who's winning this out 2 versus 1. The Orianna likes to push that Silas into the turret, but has to be careful of the abduct, like I was saying earlier. Otherwise, just like we saw, there's so much damage that Silas can trade onto Orianna in a quick instant, and then Orianna can't really pressure anymore, and Silas starts to have a free lane.
That's the problem here. But this top side, first you get level 6 with the Mordekaiser.
Used. Yeah, so into the Death Realm goes Smoke, is down a level and has their stats being stolen. This is a no contest right here. Well, there's a contest that was won. It was Guilty Free Soul who won the contest, but it didn't feel like one with how dominant that was with the level 6 advantage. Guilty Free Soul, second solo kill of the game.
This Mordekaiser looking extremely powerful in the top side. Smoke not really having much success other than that early game kill. But still down kills, down CS. But that Mordekaiser is finding a bounty, wanting to push in between these towers. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Feeling very safe here with these 3 members.
They get pulled in, and there's Keo with the flash over the wall. Headbutt back. This is beautiful stuff. Great teamwork coming through from Sky Splitters. This is top caliber gameplay, and they punish the set once again. That's 3 deaths now for Smoke. Has to miss that entire stacked wave. Look at that. These are like expert plays coming through from the squad. This is looking really good for them, and I'm impressed with this gameplay.
I am too. They're looking extremely confident here and across the map. It's going to be a picking up this first
Phaser,
dragon,
though.
but
they are going to get the dragon, and Phaser is going to be taken. That was wow. Silas is strong in just base damage. That ult did so much damage, and Phaser is going to get punished for overstaying in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, what are you really going to do there? Just getting invaded, not being level 6? It's a tough situation to be there. But just the spot lane now. Basil making their way, trying to get some push here in the bot lane, help him out after getting that big kill. 1k goal lead though for Sky Splitters, so needing to watch out. Just overall CSing quite a bit better at the moment than Ape, so needing to keep that in mind.
Yeah, they did deny that golden XP from Smoke in the top lane. And so Guilty Free Soul is having a pretty good time up here. Definitely going to win in the rest of those exchanges, those 1 versus 1s. I don't know if Smoke will even go for another one. They would have to land a full stacked Haymaker to probably win any sort of fight, especially if Guilty Free Soul has ultimate. So the advantage right now for Sky Splitters is in the top lane. The bot lane is about a 10-9 CS lead here for the Kai'Sa, so nothing too monumental down there, right? It's just been pretty quiet. They took a Drake, and then the mid lane's been heavy trading. There's 2 kills over to Kizak, and we know that a Silas can take over games. We've seen it before in Odyssey. Look at these trades. Could actually go for solo here. Gonna have to flash away from the abduct.
getting to a pretty even state here at the moment. Don't want to jinx anything, but yeah, nothing really being found. I mean,
Oh
like,
goodness.
getting right into there, like so much damage. Being
Going to be
saved
saved,
though.
though, by the Shockwave. And here's Keo from the top side of the map, and Phaser's here for reinforcements as well. There is the Onslaught of Shadows, but Kizak's going to flash right away and use the Abduct plus the Kingslayer healing to keep themselves alive and almost turn that right around onto Phaser. So Kizak is going absolutely ballistic in this mid lane. Doesn't matter if there's 3 people there. He's just going insane and still finding winning plays there.
Zach is just such a menace at the moment that needs to be looked at by almost all of the members, or at least the support in jungle for the side of Sky Splitters. And that's taking so many resources away from the rest of the map. That's allowing Zeri to farm back, get herself some more CS, get back into this game, and pressure that tier 1 turret. So gonna be losing some plates, just getting some more gold up, and having a pretty easy time into this mid game. It's something that they definitely need to watch out, keep an eye out on. But we do see just a lot of great control work
Encore and
placements.
has to be flashed away from by Ronnie. So already Zeri and Seraphine, both Key and Revenger, they're starting to take control of the bot lane. Zeri, this is what I'm talking about. This champion is strong almost through all stages, despite being your traditional farm it out and scale champion. But now let's take our attention over to the top jungle, where Basil was trying to clear blue buff peacefully, but in comes Phaser and Hayasaka to steal it right away from him, and he's going to lose that one out. But here's Smoke for the reinforcements, but they're going to get reinforcements of their own. That's Guilty Free Soul who's going to find the pull in. There is the ultimate going to come through, and Kizak has joined the party and has found his first kill. Now Smoke has to run for his life. Guilty Free Soul going to flash, but Smoke going to follow that one up with his own. Hayasaka inside of the stolen Death Realm. Kizak misses the Abduct, but there's the Kingslayer. The Scorch doesn't quite finish him off, but the last auto attack will. Now Smoke has the Honey Fruit to try and stay alive. Gets a shield with the Haymaker, but Kizak should be able to avenge his friend, and that is going to be 3 kills for the Sylas in a 5-0 start 11 minutes in.
Sylas is becoming more and more of a problem, just involving themselves in so many team fights. Maybe not getting the most presence, but demanding the most presence from the rest of this team. And I'm sure this back is going to be absolutely massive once these grubs go down. Pick up, I would assume, a completed item at minimum, and boots on top of that. But, I mean, what are you to do here? You were up a 1k gold lead there a little bit earlier, but now you're down, and Sky Splitters needs to decide how they would like to deal with this. Dragon comes up in 30 seconds, grubs to go down. And I mean,
Kizak is just the main problem for Sky Splitters. He's the problem for Sky Splitters. He's the strong player on Ape, and he's the only player for the moment. We keep our eyes on Zeri, who's farming like a champ, by the way. Key is 10 CS per minute, but so does Ronnie World. But anyways, Sylas is the strong point. Sylas is going to be the one to have to carry them through this early game and let them transition to the point where Key now becomes the main carry, maybe in tandem with Kizak as well. And so these skirmishes that might break out around the dragon are going to be super important for Ape, also for Sky Splitters as well. But keep your eye on how the Sylas tries to play these fights, as now we're going to see this one kick off. Revenger does have a blast cone to try and get themselves out. Going to flash away from that shockwave, but over the wall goes Key with the lightning crash, and now the heisted Maokai ultimate is going to root up 2. Kizak's going to find 1. They're going to collect another kill. It's a double for the Sylas, and now Phaser and Ronnie World have to run for their lives. They weren't really able to get involved in the play. And this should just mean Dragon now for Ape, and this is what I was talking about. Sylas takeover needs to happen, and it's happening right now.
and yeah, this is where Sylas is absolutely just going to be the strongest in this game. Getting this early lead, some traits to go up, and you got to feel bad here for Guilty Free Soul. That's that top lane island that you can't really be involved in any of these fights around this like 12 to like 15 minute mark, because you just can't lose that CS, and you're already dominating this lead, so might as well continue that. See if you can get any more plates before they fall. It's just a tough time up there in the top lane, watching the team go down to a Sylas that is a massive issue.
Yeah, and this is just going to be another solo kill. Just like that, Guilty Free Soul is starting to become as strong as Kizak. And Mordekaiser and Silas differ as champions. Silas is more burst oriented, where Guilty Free Soul on the Mordekaiser will be more sustained damage. So if they ever cross paths, I do have to favor the Silas at the moment, but we'll see how it develops. But I do think Guilty Free Soul has to get involved in these plays that Sky Splitters are making. Otherwise, the 4v4s are just going to be run over by the Zeri and the Silas duo. And you have them buffed up by the Seraphine as well, shields and healing and CC. And Maokai is there to CC as well. They have a great 4v4 setup, and with a 7-0 Silas, they have to bring their Mordekaiser in to help them out. Otherwise, everything is going to start to get out of hand. So that's really the game plan right now for Sky Splitters, is get your Mord involved in these plays, and that's what they're doing with this Herald.
Makes a lot of sense. Just taking this top side objective, and it looks like it's just going to go over. Not any contention at the moment. Unless Basil's
Basil's going to get pulled in. They want it. So Smoke wants the fight. He's going to go in with the ultimate, but he's a very squishy set, but does still have access to the Haymaker. And look at that burst. Kizak is now legendary, and Hayasaka just explodes. Absolutely eviscerated off the map. That's now 9 kills for Kizak. They can just take any fight they want with this Silas, and it's going to be a winning play.
Yeah, at the moment, the Silas, a massive problem, and 9 of the 10 kills. The only one over there is just that set, but almost 90% KP, and you're all the kills. This mid turret cannot be alive for too much longer, though.
Laser goes in, onslaught of shadows. Revenger is untouched. That was not the play that they wanted, but here's the 1v1 that we asked for, and yeah, this is...
mana.
Yeah, no mana. That's a good point. Can't actually finish off the kill, but you saw how much damage that Kizak did. He almost one-shot Guilty Free Soul. It's a lot more burst, and that's usually what wins out those 1v1s. And Mordekaiser doesn't really have the time to ramp up the damage there.
And I'm sure we'll see even more after this back surrounding Kizak, but this poke in mid is a massive problem as well. You can't really, I mean, it's just a matter of time before this tier 1 goes down, and at the perfect time here, 2 minutes till this Mountain Soul. This first Drake.
Yeah, and Key is just cruising right now. You're sitting mid, you have priority of the wave to just continue to push, get 10 CS a minute. You know you're set for that late game. You have a fed mid laner. You are just like sitting, tanning on the beach with your sunglasses up right now if you are Key on this area. You have an enchanter with you, like just hitting the tower in front of 3 people, and they can't really do anything about it. This is the life as an ADC. It's maybe not as fun as getting super fed, but you just know you're in a comfortable spot right now. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, you're just allowing the Silas to go to whatever side lane you want, get these turrets, get this gold, and just cause such a presence around the map while you just sit in mid, farm these towers, you know, get your minions. Just make sure that things don't totally break 16 minutes into this game. Just continue your lead and don't do anything too crazy, but makes a lot of sense. A fight, I'm sure, to break out. This Mordekaiser is deep on this top side.
Round 2 fight. So into the death realm goes Kizak. I don't think they were able to steal away the ultimate, though. So the stats have been stolen by Guilty Free Soul. They're going to get out of the ult now. Kizak going to look for the abduct. Is not going to land. Guilty Free Soul is a lot more tanky now. Going to flash forward for this, but Key is here to spoil the party. Can Kizak drop? It looks like no. That last Q missed from Mordekaiser, which probably would have finished off the kill. It was so close, but not quite there, as now Smoke wants to make a play of his own in the bot side, going for Hayasaka. Gonna cancel the shockwave with the ultimate of his own. That was an excellent play from Smoke set there, and he finds the solo kill.
Extremely well played there from Smoke. Not having the greatest laning phase, but, you know, here in this mid game, absolutely doing exactly what needs to be done and demanding just a lot of presence here. Sky Splitter's not really knowing what to do. This Drake is up in 13 seconds. I'm sure it'll immediately go down to this Ave squad, and that's going to be 3 Drakes having this lead. The Zeri doesn't even need to be a part of it. Just, again, as you keep iterating, just wanting to keep this farm up. Not really needing to involve any of the fights at the moment, because this isn't going to be a team fight to break out, because you can't really approach the Silas at the moment. You don't have any anti-healing, and you don't really have anyone with MR at the moment, so what are you to do?
Yeah, really nothing. And the person I want to, like, I kind of feel for the most is Phaser on Hecarim. Hecarim does really poor into enemy teams that can just delete you. You like to build damage. You don't like to build too tanky because then you don't deal any damage because all you can really offer is damage. But then, all you have is a Spear of Shojin here. Silas is going to delete you. Maokai's going to CC you. Even Set with a fully charged Haymaker can rip your health bar apart. And also the Zeri too, who's now at 190 farm, 10 CS per minute. As Hecarim, this game is like impossible to play. It's really, really tough. So I don't know. It's going to be... There has to be some very crazy things that need to happen in order for Sky Splitters to come back from this one. It really just does feel like we're itching closer and closer to an inevitable game state where Abe pulls ahead and wins this one out.
Yeah, can only imagine that to happen though. Still a pretty large gold lead on this top lane for Sky Splitters. You know, mid obviously quite a deficit, but I mean ADC is pretty close, just along with the supports. It's just this mid lane is the problem. And it's probably like a 3k gold lead there, I can only imagine. So, I mean, what are you really gonna do? Needing to shut this Silas down, but I don't know if they're gonna give you an opportunity to do so.
I think Ape needs to look for more fights too. They got the mid prow. I think they should just right now be moving into the enemy jungle and just going for plays. But right now it looks like it's actually going to be Sky Splitters that are going to try and pull the trigger here. The flash from Revenge is going to get away from the onslaught of shadows. The ghost was popped as well from Phaser, and Guilty Free Soul used the teleport, is going to put Key into the Death Realm. So we have a Zeri versus Mordekaiser matchup. Nice dodges on the Qs, and Key has stayed untouched for the moment. That is the strength of Zeri. She will kite you into oblivion if you cannot lock her down. Flash forward from Kizak, lands the abduct and sends Phaser all the way to the death realm of his own, and we'll have to wait 30 seconds before he respawns, and that will mean that Ape will likely go for the Baron.
Yeah, there's a free Baron for you, as you just said, wanted them to fight. There we are. Immediately picking that one up, so makes a lot of sense. You're so strong, especially in this mid-game. Really, nobody's going to defeat you. That Zeri movement, perfect. The spacing, absolutely flawless. And this is just going to give you so much more of a push. It's going to end, around right before this Mountain Soul fight. And it's just going to be so much pressure that Sky Splitters really can't deal with. You don't have the greatest wave clear in the world. You don't have just the greatest engage, especially from when you're behind. Hecarim maybe to get a steal, but isn't super tanky either.
Yeah, I'd probably just get one shot before you even get to the pit. You try and use your ult, and it's going to take Kingslayer auto and then, abscond, and then you're dead. That's how much damage the Silas is going to do. I don't know if... I'm assuming with the Needlessly Large Rod that Kizak's going to build that Death Cap third item. And if we do get to a point, assuming that the game will get that far where Silas does finish off that Death Cap, just watch out for how much damage that is going to be. It's going to be we're going to have to put a PG warning on the stream or something, because it'll get bloody here from Kizak.
It might be Ludens first the 6 sustains, so you don't give over your bounty. Maybe because it does build out of a Needlessly now. But imagine if I was Kizak, I'd be building that Death Cap. I'd be feeling myself. I would be like, this is just my game. I'm just wanting to take over. And you guys are really just living in it. So just waiting this out, farming their jungle, pushing these waves, just playing this incredibly well. And Kizak looking for any kills to get, and that shockwave did, I think, negative damage.
It's okay. That didn't happen. What happened? Oh, Kizak clearing blue. Okay, just playing with the team. Didn't go for a kill there. We didn't see anything.
Yeah, it was a great push of the wave though, making sure it hit the tower and so.
Yep. It was indeed. We have you said this earlier, Claire. You said top lane island. These guys are living in their own world. Just fight already, guys. You know you want to. There you go. That's right. Smoke is like, all right, enough of the dancing. Guilty Free Soul, you might have a pretty dire situation, but I'll give you some fun here and go for the 1 versus 1. Smoke is going to flash away from the Q. Out of the Death Realm they'll go. There's the ultimate. It gets as close as it gets. It's a Hollywood finish, and Guilty Free Soul will get the solo kill as the mid lane's being sieged. But oh, Keo finds the engage of the sentry there. 3-person knockup, and this is huge, but they just don't have the damage to deal with Ape, and they just clean up this fight. They have the Seraphine to keep them all healthy. The Zeri's hitting from the backline, a double kill for Key, and they're going to finish off that last kill. Keyzak is now 13-0. What a fantastic performance they have put on with the Sylas.
13-0, just I'm assuming just grab that mid inhib, fall back to this dragon, pick that one up. I don't know. Maybe they could have gone for the end, but Keo getting up now. Phaser up in 9. This is definitely the most safe play. Pick this one up. I don't think anyone should die here. Basil going to be incredibly tanky. The Sylas going to even be more tanky, have way more sustain in these fights. And, I mean, just not a great path for Sky Splitters to get back into this one. It's kind of just seeming like whenever Ape wants to end, or maybe around a team fight, they can just kind of do it. So just kind of in the Ape end the game waiting room, unless we can see a crazy comeback from one of these players, which, you know, it's not out of the world, not out of the possibility quite yet, but it's pretty much
it's getting pretty close. They have Mountain Soul now, so on top of having a Seraphine giving you endless shields and healing, how in the world are you going to kill any of these guys? Phaser. Wow, Keyzak really just stole away that kill. He's like, sorry, Smoke, you can't have any fun, man. This is my kill. And just steals away that Hecarim. Steals away that prize that they're hunting down, which is that Hecarim that they found inside of the jungle. That's going to be kill number 14. I feel like at this point, I mean, Keyzak hasn't even shopped in like 5 minutes. He's like waiting to make a big purchase. I feel like they're just kind of stalling this game out. I feel like they could have ended minutes ago. They just kind of want to hit full build and just do a wallet check here. So I think the recall is going to come through. Okay, so here it comes from Keyzak. We're going to see what the purchase is.
What is it going to be? It's going to be, you know, it's probably like 4K gold, I'm sure. Just sitting on top of that, the teammates just controlling that topside jungle, going to get down this tier 2. And Keyzak also just wanting to show up, not wanting to feel left out of the push.
Yeah, just never going to back. No back challenge.
Creating more and more gold, more and more opportunities to spend that wealth here in the future. Just building up an entire 401k as we speak, but
it looks like it was just finished death cap. But there could be excess gold there too. But that's actually a big purchase though. Rod into death cap is massive, but we're going to see a fight break out now. And remember, there's no Sylas. There's the Encore to run through the team. Key found his first kill, but they do trade one back. So Sky Splitters is on the board in this exchange. Revenger does not have flash to get out of this. Is going to be pulled right back in. Here is Smoke to try and keep Basil safe. And surely Sky Splitters will know very soon Keyzak is going to join this party. They have found the bot lane here from Ape, and they're just going to take that and run. So there you go. That's the something that you need, but you need like 20 other somethings to come back in this game. And it has to start with taking down Keyzak, even though that does seem like an impossible task at the moment.
Yeah, incredible to see the difference. I mean, it was a great fight take there from Sky Splitters, knowing that Keyzak wasn't there, but trying to do a little bit more now.
Yeah, they're going to go for it again. Keo starts this one off. There's the ultimate to bring him back, and that's going to be the haymaker now into the Death Realm. Goes Keyzak, going to find the 1 versus 1 up against Guilty Free Soul. Will dodge away from that E, but now has the Abscond Abduct and will be able to win that one out. Here's a double kill. Potential pentakill angle here for Keyzak. Is getting very low. Gets the Quadra and actually doesn't... Is that the... No, it's not the penta.
Smoke finished.
Smoke that stole it. Oh, Smoke. You villain. Stole your teammate's penta. Maybe it wasn't a steal because Keyzak died.
Yeah, Keyzak really shouldn't have died there. Pretty embarrassing. But here we are, finishing the game here. Nexus to go down at 27 minutes. And 8 being an incredibly dominant performance. There at the beginning, kind of close, but it quickly ramped up. And you know, an 18-1 performance on Sylas is a little bit difficult to come back from there if you're Sky Splitters.
It is indeed. I also want to shout out Basil for going deathless in that game too. Pretty nice KP as well. 17 out of 25. Not too shabby. And I think Ape is still undefeated. I don't think they have dropped a game yet. I think they improved now to 4-0, I do believe. So I think that will take over the throne of top of the ladder. And they will sit at the top of the league after this win. So, congrats to Ape. We do have one more game ahead of us after that last banger, and we will bring that to you in the coming moments after a short break. So, do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone, for game number 2 of this week's edition of Odyssey Season 1 2024. My name is Ferris. If you're just joining us on the caster desk, I am joined by Claire. How are you feeling after that very first game, which was, I would say, pretty one-sided?
I'm feeling pretty good. Excited to get into this next one, which hopefully will be a little bit more, action packed. Not that that one wasn't, but it was just action packed, mainly just on the one side there. But it's gonna be Orange OnlyFans versus Essence Thieves. We got two pretty massive substitutions, both of the ADCs, so it's gonna be an equal match as these first ban waves come in.
Yeah, that's right. So both ADCs being subbed out. So neither one has that substitute advantage or disadvantage, if that even exists. I guess it would vary depending on who's subbing in. If we got Viper subbed into one of these teams, well, maybe that would change it up a little bit. But We do see the bans now. We see a few ADC bans. Ezreal and Jinx are going to be taken off the board. We see a Vex ban. That's not something you see every day. So that leads me to believe that we do have some patented Vex players on these teams, and at least on Orange OnlyFans. And the Essence Thieves do not want to play up against that champion. We do see a Katarina ban as well. Same sort of story, as well as the Zyra. I do believe Talia is a Zyra player. I know Talia is on the Essence Thieves, and Talia likes to play the Zyra. So I know that that is a Talia targeted ban. I got that knowledge in my brain after watching the previous matches in the previous weeks. So there you go. And first pick of the match on blue side, Orange Only fans have picked Kaisa.
Kaisa is just a pretty interesting pick, I would say, because it's not super prevalent in like the pro meta at the moment, but Kog'Maw is something that I'm much less used to seeing, especially. And here we have it though, just as a first pick. And if I was Orange Only fans, I really wouldn't know what to think of the Kog'Maw.
Well, the Kog'Maw is a pick that has risen in priority over like just League of Legends in general after he got some very nice buffs. He got buffs to every single one of his abilities aside from his W. And one of my favorite things about the Kog'Maw buffs was the fact that his Q animation now matches his attack speed, which is a huge quality of life change. It used to take, like, you would be late game Kog'Maw, you'd be firing vomit missiles everywhere, and then you would slowly shoot out your Q, and it would just kill all your momentum. Now doesn't do that anymore. So Kog'Maw's a strong pick, and against Braum J4, which Orange Only fans have followed up to tankier champions, Kog'Maw thrives against champions like that. So maybe paired with an enchanter of some kind, Yumi, that's not as good as a Lulu because there's not as much peel, but any enchanter does work very nicely with Kog'Maw. So, and is also long range. I kind of like the pick. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, especially in this laning phase, having Braum Kaisa versus Kog'Maw Yumi. Not something I'm used to seeing, especially it's not very common, but it's going to be exciting as the second ban wave comes in, seeing Diana, Malphite, Ari, and Syndra. So mid being prioritized here by a lot of these teams. I guess you could flex Diana jungle, but we already do see that Jarvan and just top lane not really being cared about at all. So excited to see what we see there.
That's fitting for top lane, the fitting theme, the forgotten lane. But we do see, at least from the side of Essence Thieves, they banned away Diana and Malphite, two champions that hard engage, and champions that Kog'Maw doesn't like to play against. Kog'Maw has range, but if a Diana gets on you, if a Malphite gets on you, you're kind of done for. So that just eliminates some of those engage tools for Orange Only fans. But their response is going to be Aatrox, which is going to win the top lane. That's a blind pick. It's not a bad blind pick, so I think Orange Only fans are doing well with that. And Lissandra up against a champion like Akali, who's super mobile with the shuriken flip, the perfect execution. I like this counter pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, no, I do too. Excited to see. You don't see Lissandra. A lot of, unique picks that we're seeing here. And we do see a Camille top versus this Aatrox, which I can't imagine is Camille favored, unless it could be Camille mid and Akali top. Could see some lane swap action, potentially.
Yeah, the Camille Aatrox matchup is it's a skill matchup, I guess you can say, although what Camille sort of wins out, especially later on, and it's up to Aatrox to win that lane phase out. He does way more damage in the early lane phase. He just has to hit those sweet spots. And there's certain interactions between the two champions that you have to play the matchup a lot to know. So things like if Camille tries to hook shot off a wall into Aatrox, but Aatrox is Q3 prepped, then he can Q3 on the hook shot, cancel that, and that pretty much thwarts a lot of what Camille wants to do. There's a lot of like niche plays that happen in this matchup, and if you know it well from either side, you can win out, and you can actually win really hard. It's a very volatile matchup as well. So I expect this trend that we like to see in Odyssey, where people fight, they don't stop fighting, and they fight until they run out of breath or a Nexus explodes. This top lane matchup might get bloody, assuming, like you said, Claire, it is that Camille top.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of time to see as we get into this game here. I was doing some research just now as you were talking about Camille win rates and whatnot, and yeah, Masters Plus Korea dominates 60% win rate versus the Aatrox, so not looking great if you're just basing it off statistics, but you know, maybe it's that 40% we're gonna see here.
Could be. Yeah, I do think it is slightly Camille favored, but it is possible for Aatrox to win. I remember like way long ago when Nuguri was playing, he was talking about it, and that for context, if anyone doesn't know who that is, world champion top laner, and he said it's very hard for Aatrox to win the matchup if it's two really good players, but a really talented Aatrox player can still pull it off. So it's not impossible for Aatrox. We'll see how well Ajuka can manage Munchman's Camille in this matchup.
Getting into this, not gonna see any invades. Those have been phased out. Unless this Jarvan's probably just going here for a ward on those Raptors. Yeah, just making sure that no vision is going to be, or no secret ganks are going to be coming over to the blue side jungle. But yeah, we saw so many invades last like season, but they've just been phased out. People are a little bit too scared, don't want to go for it. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Not wanting to 50-50 your game immediately, just wanting to at least get some buffs, get some CS down before you take the engage, the fight.
Yeah, I think it just comes down, like, honestly, invades just come down to whether you like think about it or you like feel like it or not. I do believe Oran's OnlyFans with Braum could have found a successful invade, but sometimes you just don't feel like they're gonna give it to you. Like they're not just gonna go AFK in a game like this, in a competitive game. They're gonna be waiting, they're gonna be expecting something, so it is harder to pull off. And yeah, I don't know. You're right though, Claire. Like it doesn't happen as often. I swear we saw it every time earlier, but these teams playing a little bit more conservative. And we'll see how well this Kog'Maw can do in this lane. He does have a range advantage over Kai'Sa, but if he gets caught up by some Frostbite like we do see right now, Dimuda has found that passive, is going to lock it onto Theo. Just going to be able to run away just now is, oh my goodness. Talia jumped out of the Kog'Maw and almost got stunned up by the Frostbite there, and that would have been dangerous for the cat with the book.
Yeah, it's always weird to see Yuumi, especially just on someone like Kog'Maw, which can do a lot of damage, but it does take some time to ramp that damage up. Not going to see crazy damage numbers, but some trades to go through mid. But yeah, just when I think of Yuumi, I'm like super duper hyper scaling ADC, like Zeri or something. Not necessarily Kog'Maw.
Yeah, well, Kog'Maw is that hyper-scaling ADC, but he doesn't quite have the movement that Zeri does. And Yuumi works well with champions who move fast and go crazy. So, and Zeri has that with her ultimate and such things, but it still works. And Yuumi can do a great job of giving Kog'Maw those extra bit of stats, those heals, and also an underrated part about Yuumi are the summoner spells. You don't take flash, you take an extra combat sum. Exhaust Ignite can do lots for you, but we have to take our attention now to top side. TSM is garbage is here for the counter gank. Hero Joe gonna jump in with the Arctic Assault. Ajuka gonna flash away, and Sinja's here as well. My goodness, with the Shuriken flip, does find TSM is garbage, but not gonna go in under turret to a full HP Jarvan, and is just gonna channel that recall. So things getting dicey up there, but no kills to either team just yet.
A lot of pressure here in the early game for Essence Thieves, really wanting to find that first blood, but here we are, 4 minutes in, not quite finding anything, and usually you see this, but Hero Joe maybe a bit too aggressive.
Did not know small PPE was waiting in the brush there. Got blinded by the idea of that Scuttle Crab and will drop for first blood, and Oran's OnlyFans are on the board now. A nice heads-up play there, small PP Weeb getting involved. That's that TSM is garbage, small PP Weeb, 3-word name duo. No, paying off for Oran's OnlyFans. And Oran's OnlyFans has 3 words in their name. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. That has nothing to do with League. I just was thinking of some things on the spot there.
Some patterns we're noticing here.
Exactly.
Patterns, 0 turrets get gotten. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird. It's usually not the case. But yeah, we're like getting deeper into this game, And
Oh,
it's
Hero
just Hero
Joe.
Joe is so aggressive at the moment. Just wanting
Yeah,
to
well,
farm anything.
he kind of just wants his own jungle camps here, but D Muda and TSM Garbage is just not really letting him have it. But they might get punished for their sins here. Their invasion, they went too deep, and D Muda and TSM is Garbage are going to fall, and Hero Joe is laughing, looking at them, saying, "You can have my Gromp, and I'll give my team 2 kills," and they're going to be happy about this one. Supro is the next person that they want, but they don't really have the means to catch that Kaisa, so they're going to have to settle for 2 kills, but I think they'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just a little bit too deep there for the Orange OnlyFans side. Maybe think they had a better timing than they did. Maybe thinking that, Hero Joe would have been pathing topside. But talking about the Sakali, we've seen it absolutely dominate last week. So I'm sure Sinja's looking to recreate the same success. But it's not looking that it's going to be the case for at least 5 minutes in. Or 6 minutes in, I should say.
Yep, Dragon and Grubs, both still alive, both up for grabs. We'll see who is the first team to make the move towards those objectives. They've kind of been focused on their own personal conquests, taking away enemy junglers' camps, looking for ganks in the top side, finding picks in the river. So they've yet to translate this into a neutral objective. The next of these plays is going to happen. Nice shuriken flip from Sinja to avoid what would have been most certainly a glacial prison there. And or actually, that's Frozen Tomb is what I meant to say. Glacial Prison is going to actually be Hero Joe's ultimate on the Sejuani. But able to get away from that one. And now we see both junglers up here in the top side. I'm waiting for this play to start. It's going to be TSM is Garbage to reveal themselves first, but Hero Joe is right behind him. They're going on to Munchman. They found lots of damage. The hook shot is not going to be able to go through. Running away is this Camille who did not take flash in the summoner spells, and Ajuka will grab that kill. But now small PP Weeb is getting involved in this play, pushing Hero Joe towards his tier 3 top lane turret, delaying that recall a little bit, but that is going to be a 1-for-0 in favor of Warren's OnlyFans.
Pretty tight game that we're seeing at the moment. Grubs to go over to Warren's OnlyFans makes a lot of sense. Having that top pressure, being able to send a lot of these members to deal with that, but this Braum been roaming quite a bit. This Yumi wanting to stay down, play off of that Kog'Maw, play off that ADC, and try to get a lot of lane prio, potentially leading to them to get this Dragon Sejuani pathing immediately to there from spawn. So it does look like the trades of the camps are going to go through, keeping this pretty even. I mean,
yeah, it's a tight game so far. 2-2 is the kill score. We have a small gold lead in favor of Warren's OnlyFans, but you could almost flag a gold lead like that as completely negligible. If a 5v5 fight broke down right now, probably would just come down to execution there. I don't know if any of these teams have any real advantages over their opponent right now. I think this is a pretty matched game all across the board. Actually, I probably would give the scaling game over to Essence Leaves. They actually have the Camille and the Kog'Maw, and they also have Yumi too, so that's an enchanter. You'd always prefer enchanters in terms of overall strength in the late game, so they do have that scaling advantage, so an elongated game will go their way, but we have to talk about this top lane, and Munchman is having a hard time against Ajuka. This is one of those games where the Aatrox is able to find success against the Camille. Again, it can just be a skill thing. If the Aatrox is able to outplay, it's still very winnable. We're seeing that right now. CS lead, kill advantage. Things looking good up there for the moment.
I mean, Warren's OnlyFans wanting to fight this bot side. They have the component advantage, not really having anything.
Theo locked up by the Braum passive. D-Muda going forward. There's going to be the killer instinct, but the exhaust from Talia goes down, and Theo is able to walk this one off. Just going to use the flash. That'll be that.
The Yumi sustain on the top there of the Kog'Maw just doing so much work, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That fight, wanting to break out, you have quite a bit of an advantage. You have backed already, so just having a lot more mana, having more damage based off of your items, and close to getting that kill, but just not quite gonna make that one happen. And I mean, that's probably gonna be the only fight that we see break out in bot lane for quite some time. Mid lane, we might have a chance. This is Lysandra looking a little bit scary.
I didn't even realize that Theo didn't back. So that's why Supro and Dimuda forced so hard. They recognized that, okay, this Kog'Maw hasn't purchased any items yet. We must be stronger right now. Let's just force and see what we can get. And they did get some. They unfortunately didn't find the kill. That's a full Rage Blade bot from Theo. So not building the Blade of the Rune King. This is an item that's almost a staple with Kog'Maw. You almost always like to build Bork. So it's an interesting choice from Theo to skip out on that item. I personally think it's a must-have for Kog'Maw. I don't really like the feel of not having that extra % health damage. I think it works really well with your W, but it can still be fine just going the Rage Blade. The Rage Blade, I think, is still a great power spike for the Kog'Maw, but they're going to make this play here. And Theo and Talia, we're not expecting this one. Around the corner they go. No sums now. There's the Braum passive that's going to tick, and Theo has no way of trading it 1-for-1. And you already know when you kill someone with a Yuumi on their back, you're good for 2 there, as long as it's not underneath the tower or anything. That's 2 kills now for Orange Only fans. They improved to 4 and 2 in the kill score. And now we'll see a top lane fight transition perfectly from the bot lane play. Munchman is angry after Ajuka was bullying him around earlier and has actually brought a friend to help him out. He's not taking any chances. He doesn't care about the 1v1 pride. He's bringing in the jungler, and Munchman is getting themselves back into this game and picks up a kill on Ajuka's Aatrox.
Both these junglers having 100% KP so far, just signifying that these lanes are just a lot more difficult than we've seen the past couple of these games to really dominate your opponent, and they're very even so
Scuttle Crab
far.
fight. Wow, they're TPing for this Scuttle Crab. This is one important Scuttle Crab here. I guess the grubs are right there too. Hero Joe, though, is going to drop Sinja too late to the play and maybe got a bit too close. Muda pulling the trigger and flashing on the Akali, but nobody's home. But they do and should be able to get themselves 6 grubs. So pretty nice prize for being able to find that pick on the enemy jungle in the river.
6 scrubs. Their pushing is going to be so incredibly strong into this one. Boston Thieves going to have a little bit more of a challenge, especially on those side lanes, especially with that Camille and that Akali. Not going to find as much success as maybe their
here comes the counterplay, though. And Sinja, good identifying that the Kaisa is alone, but Supro actually kind of read that play. Walked halfway up the lane, auto-attacked the Akali, and then used the Killer Instinct to get out. So nice heads-up play from Supro to avoid that dive.
Very well played, very well read there. Support coming back to lane, gonna stop this push right in its tracks unless Theo and Talia can do something. But it doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case. Maybe just some...
You have to be careful, though, because TSM is garbage is here. Theo is so aggressive, wants to find as much damage as possible, and is going to pay for it. They did not know how close the J4 was. And Small PTV getting involved in this play, too. Going to use the teleport. Maybe a little bit of overkill, but hey, you got something out of it. At least you got a kill. So this is, again, more winning plays for Orange Only fans. They're starting to pull ahead here. 7 kills to 3. Muda, you are half HP. Supro, you are half HP. You guys... You gotta run. That's an Akali in the river who's flashing on your face. Gonna find the kill. 500 gold shutdown. Sinja picks up the kill on the Akali. And remember, we know how good Sinja can be on this pick, but here's going to be the trade. Now the cavalry for Orange Only fans has arrived. The dynamic duo. The 3-word duo, like we identified earlier, picking up 2 kills. Hero Joe gonna try and flash away, but can't escape from the clutches of TSM is garbage and Small PP Weeb. And they might just go straight for this dragon and pick that one up. Yeah.
Dragons would just be totally gone here. First one to go over to Orange Only fans. Having this bot lane push, ball PvE needing to be pretty careful, and
that was just a dry death solo kill right there.
Yeah, not what you want to see happen there. Munchman just wanting to trade with Ajuka, knowing that you're a little bit stronger, especially having that more movement.
Theo's just going for it. He doesn't give a damn. Just killing everyone off. Look at this Kog'Maw with the Yuumi on his back. Gonna go for another fight here. Unfortunately, can't finish off Supro, but Sinja's here to try and remedy this. Indeed, Muda's up in the top side. What is going on in this game? Munchman now is saying, what the hell's a Braum doing up in my lane when there's Dragon up? This is crazy. I am not happy about this. Ajuka is so low, taunting Munchman, but you have to be careful. That hook shot covers a long distance. Now a teleport's coming in to help out the Camille. Now he's got some confidence. Now he's saying, yeah, come back. Now try and fight me when I got my homeboy here, and they're not going to go for it. Both top laners are going to survive, but Theo and Talia, we can't forget about the Yuumi, on an absolute rampage. Just taking out Small people. We even saying, I'm going to this dragon. I'm taking it myself.
Big play there out of Theo to keep this game pretty close. Okay, kills not super close, and then this push back on a Munchman, but easily able to escape that with the disengage from the Camille. And Munchman positioning around the alcove so well to allow the TP to come in there, and it's exactly what you need to have happen there. Sinja having the back there of Munchman, keeping them alive deeper into this game, and would not want this Aatrox to get any stronger.
No, Aatrox is a champion that can be quite takeover-like in these games if given the proper resources. And I was talking earlier about Theo going for the Rage Blade. I assumed he was just skipping over Bork, but it seems as if with the pickaxe and the longsword, that's most likely going to build into the Blade of the Rune King. So just a preference thing, decides to go for the Rage Blade first. It's a little bit more DPS, I believe, and just a little harder to run people down because you don't have that slow from Blade of the Rune King, but now we're going to see a fight break out. D-Muda's just burning that exhaust to try and catch Theo and apply that passive. Supro takes a ton of damage, but now sitting behind Brahm's wall, will not be taken down. Could actually fall to this Kog'Maw passive here, but he's going to dodge away from it with the Killer Instinct, and D-Muda will pick up the second kill on Talia. The 2v2 now for Orange Only fans working out in their favor. 4 kills on Supro. Can't forget about the Kaisa.
Bot lane is just incredibly bloody every time we peer back at it. But it's usually just Orange Only fans finding that advantage, and then a little bit later they might overstay their welcome and then end up, you know, their name's back in the kill feed just on the wrong side. Getting into this, there's really nothing to fight.
Oh, T-Hex Flash play. Hero Joe appears out of nowhere, but Small PvP will go into a frozen tomb of his own and will now join this party with Ajuka, who is teleported in. But the Glacial Prison will keep Sinja alive for the moment, but can't escape from the Infernal Chains. This is going to be 2 kills for Ajuka in the top side. Munchman's pushing to try and counter, but excellent play from Orange Only fans in mid lane. It might not be done yet. Doesn't look like they're going to carry that E through. They're going to summon up the Rift Herald now, going to take down this mid lane turret, and they are going to continue their siege. They might look for another one after this.
So many grubs to help them with this siege. There's another charge to come out of the Rift Herald, about half HP. Done to that tower, can't get too much more. Theo trying to look for this re-engage, but not being able to find anything to come back. That Talia, that Yuumi that Talia is on, not great for the engage, but needing that Sejuani or perhaps that Camille there, and they're just nowhere to be seen.
Yep, they're just slowly building up their resources there. But Ajuka still even CS with Munchman and has 3 extra kills in his back pocket. Although thankfully Munchman was able to grab that turret, and slowly Camille will start to become more of a side lane threat. Although will Munchman be able to finish Ajuka in the side lane? I don't know. It's going to be tough. So you might be able to apply pressure, but if Ajuka just wants to hold you, I don't think there's really much you can do about it. Sinja as well, thinking about the sideline, thinking about the solo XP, and they're giving that mid lane over to Kog'Maw to try and get Theo to scale up. But now Sinja is in an odd position here. D-Muda has been roaming all around the map right now, making plays top, making plays bot lane, away from his ADC, and now they know that the rest of Essence Thieves, the cavalry, headed down that river, ready to help out the squad, and Theo is just full frontline right now. This Kog'Maw, a little bit too aggressive there. He does have to flash away from the engage. Hero Joe is taking a lot of damage, going to have to flash away to get himself to safety, but the Killer Instinct will follow up from Supro, and it is absolute pandemonium in the center of the river here, and that's going to be so much damage. Look at all the Lissandra souls grouped together. Absolute destruction, and Orange Only fans will win out this fight and find the full ace at 18 minutes.
That fight to just give Orange Only fans so much pressure on the map here. Just nobody alive to contest this Drake, no one alive to stop this mid push from happening, and it makes you wonder what is Essence Thieves' play to get back into this game. I mean, your ultimates aren't super great for team fights. If you can isolate Camille's is pretty good, and roll just in isolation kills in general, your composition is pretty good, but finding yourselves in that team fight, you can have Sejuani engage, but just jumping on top of her is so difficult to do, especially with that Jarvan and that follow-up of that backline from Orange Only fans. So how do you go about engaging and making sure you stay alive into these fights, especially when, you know, you're quite far behind in the game state at this moment? So
Well, Hero Joe is built 2 support items, so he has the Locket and the Knight's Vow. So more of a supportive Sejuani build, not as tanky. Your job is really to try and protect Theo's Kog'Maw and have Kog'Maw run these fights while peeling back. So they're kind of like they want to disengage and they want Sinja to be in the backline causing a little bit of chaos as best as he can. And they want Munchman to be finding any kills that he can, whether it's backline, whether it's peeling for the Kog'Maw. So that fight, Theo was a little bit too far forward, had to burn the flash early, then got caught up in the whole vortex of spells that happened right in the middle of that fight and ended up getting one shot completely. So the Kog'Maw needs to be a little safer, but even though they're down 6k gold, Essence Thieves, they're still not out of it yet. And the reason I say that is because they do have very powerful champions if they can get a little bit more gold onto them.
Yeah, just fighting this front to back, not quite what they would be looking for. Munchman not being able to hold on to this side lane presence.
Oh,
Theo to come
gonna
for a
get caught
gank.
out. Hextech Ultimatum goes down. This is what I'm talking about. So Ajuka gives over the 1k. That is a massive bounty to give away that freely. And that's something that they're going to cherish here is the Essence Thieves to try and come back in the game. It goes the way of Munchman. Either Theo or Munchman, you're happy with both. Both of these players can be pivotal as the game progresses for Essence Thieves, and we're talking about a comeback. So that's big, and they're going to take that.
I'm definitely going to take that. That Camille being able to get so much stronger later into this game, especially in these up-and-coming team fights. Just needing to find and position well enough to get onto your targets there if you are Essence Thieves. I think that's what the setup of their fights is going to be their main struggle, I would say, coming into this, this late game of this game here. But needing to make sure you keep everyone safe enough. You can't let Theo be jumped on by that Kaisa or that Lissandra or even that Aatrox or Jarvan. So the positioning is, a key point in getting into this. Just wanting to farm up, dragging up here in 2 minutes, Baron having up, but neither of these teams feeling safe enough just to force this fight, I'm sure.
And another thing I'm noticing about One's OnlyFans composition that they've drafted, or maybe not so much what they've drafted, but more so what they're building. This is AP Kaisa. This is your standard AP Kaisa build, Static Rageblade into full AP. You have Lissandra, who can find picks, and then you have Damage Aatrox and Damage Jarvan. They have a ton of burst at their disposal, but after their spells have been used, they don't have much else. There is DPS on Kaisa, but that's about it. So if Theo can avoid this initial burst, Theo can pop off, and so can Munchman if Munchman becomes free of that crowd control. And it depends on who Talia is sitting on, whether it be Theo or Munchman, depending on the situation. They just have to avoid the engage. I think that's about it, and I think Essence Thieves can pull this off. Look at the damage that Theo's doing already, and that's through the Unbreakable Shield. That's a ton of damage that Kog'Maw does. Now Bork has been finished. Yeah, so just watch out for the Kog'Maw if they don't blow him up immediately.
Kog'Maw 2-3 items here. So, and just so much damage, as you were saying. And it's going to stop their push for now. Sinja getting spotted out by that blue trinket. Not what you want to see. Just trying to get some recon there in the bot side jungle. Just trying to keep this mid-tier 2 alive is the job of Theo at the moment. Just wanting to stay in mid. Maybe try and get some poke damage on that tier 1 of yourself. But not too sure how successful that's going to be. And everyone going back to some lanes, maybe not their lanes, but just wanting to position in a spot to at least get some value off of these minions, keep their farm up, not drop anything, as Orange OnlyFans looking to make a play, looking to collapse onto someone, and that someone might be Sinja.
Yep, Sinja could be the target, but I think Orange OnlyFans, or Essence Thieves rather, have realized that the dragon is up. Orange OnlyFans is definitely going to be moving towards that. It's probably spotted them on a few wards, and they're going to start up the Baron and try and lure them over here. Or if they want to trade the dragon and the Baron, even better, right? They'll take a free Baron. So I think they're just going to continue to dance around this objective, and it'll kind of be tough for Orange OnlyFans to decide what they want to do. Do we contest them at Baron and just full fight? Do we trade dragon for Baron? Certainly won't want to do that. They definitely won't do that. But Yeah, now that the Baron isn't being started, they're going to just try and sneak this as fast as they can, and Ajuka is just waiting around, making sure that nothing crazy happens. They're actually going to start up the Baron, but the Dragon does go. They actually do have lots of time to get over here, so I don't think this Baron's going to go down without a fight. They're going to make the engage onto Ajuka. The tactical sweep will pop the Edge of Night shield, but they simply don't have the damage to burn this Baron fast enough before the rest of Essence Thieves arrives. Theo, oh my goodness, almost walked into the entirety of Essence, or of Oran's Only fans there. But he's going to live to see another day, and 2 Cloud Drakes will go over to OOF.
Essence Thieves dancing around the objective, not paying off there as Oran's Only fans picking up that second Cloud Drake. Just wanting to stack them up, and it would be an absolute treat to see that Jarvan just run around the map as, like, with 500 move speed, having 4 Cloud Drakes. And then that Soul. But yeah, this top side just wanting to regroup, put a lot of pressure into this. Just pick up all the standing gold that they can get their hands on at the moment, and I think might be it. You do see some tier 2s there in that top and bot lane, but a bit more difficult to get on. Essence Thieves just wanting to trade that turret for this one. It's gonna go right into your hands, but you can just see how much slower that is without those without the grubs.
Yeah, I think I like this trade, though. They do trade tier 3s, but it's the mid tier 3 that's been taken from Essence Thieves, so they have more opportunities now to make plays on the map. Theo, my goodness. Theo, you got some nerves of steel or some balls of steel, whatever you want to say, because you're just taking the enemy Raptor camp like that is pretty brave, I would say, as a Kog'Maw. You do have a Yuumi on your back, but that's not going to save you if the entirety of the enemy team decides to collapse on your face. And they're sitting in this bush. They're like, I want this Kog'Maw so bad. It looks so tasty. I just need to one-shot this man. And small PPW is going to try and pull the trigger. They're like, get over here, you little voidling, whatever the hell you are. We need you. We want you, but we can't quite catch you just yet. And Kog'Maw continues to scale.
Kog'Maw is just a little guy. That's what he's known by. That's what his name is in the Riot thing.
But they found Sinja, though.
Not looking so great. The Shroud to cover you, but getting out
nice,
R1, R2.
Flashes out. Sinja avoids the Void Missile there as well, so they can't use the Killer Instinct. Demuda will forget that ever happened. The slow is found from TSM is garbage. Locks him in the Cataclysm and finds that Dragon Strike to finish off the kill. They're able to pick up the Akali. Will they translate this into a Baron? Do they think they have the strength to go for this 5 versus 4? And that answer is yes. Will the response come through from Essence Thieves? Munchman does have teleport. And the 3-person unit of Theo, Talia, and Hero Joe are here to try and thwart this from happening. Hero Joe is in the pit, going to try and retreat now, but the Infernal Chains will pull him back, and while he's CC'd, he's actually going to steal the Baron. How in the world did Hero Joe do that? And look who's free hitting in the back lane. It's going to be Theo, but finally Ajuka realizes, gotta stop that Kog'Maw from hitting us, and there's so much damage at their disposal. They're going to burst both of them. They're going to get all 3, but Hero Joe with the hero play, and Munchman all the meanwhile is able to grab an inhib. If I am Essence Thieves, I am saying WORTH.
And getting out there, having that empowered recall, getting that inhibitor. Perfect stuff. Well, not perfect for a few dying for that play, but still, that's a lot of pressure you got there on the map. Really coming back into this one, this Camille, being able to split push a lot easier now, especially when this Cloud Drake's to come up, still having that TP for this next team fight. Overall, definitely a worthwhile engage.
I think we're in for a spicy finish here, Claire. This is starting to build. There's like a tension building up. There's some small fights happening. There's trades that are happening. You know, there's lots of kills that Oran's Only fans are getting, but SNCs get the Baron, SNCs get the inhibitor, and it's starting to become an even game state right now, but there's really good scaling still for the side of SNCs. This is a close game. This is a really close game, and in comparison to last time around, it doesn't get much closer than this. We don't see a lot of close games at Odyssey. A lot of times it is that stomp, but these two teams are pretty close in the standings. They're fighting for that middle of the pack there, and this is a very important game for them. So maybe they got nerves, maybe they're just really trying to get this win, but both of these teams are playing super hard. And it's been entertaining so far. I'm excited to see how this one finishes out. But here we go. Small PvE making the play. He's going to drop the ultimate right onto Theo's face. And this is the burst we're talking about. There goes the Kog'Maw. But Talia will safely get back onto Hero Joe, who's very tanky and should be some safety for now. Munchman joining the play. Going to drop the ultimate onto Supro. That's 900 gold going the way of the Camille. The hook shot. And Talia somehow gets on the back as well. But that Camille is going to drop. And that does mean that Talia will follow. It ends up being a 3-for-1 in favor of Essence Thieves.
Not what you want to see. This Cloud Drake's up. It's going to go over to the hands, the Orange only fans. But just needing to watch out for this backdoor. Aatrox needing to back, needing to clear these minions. Just doing a little bit damage to those Nexus turrets. So not too big of a deal, but still needing to watch out. Needing to be wary of it. Yeah, this Dragon Hero Joe I don't think is even attempting to contest this at the moment. But it's just Essence Thieves in such a difficult position in their team fight, needing to just have that perfect engage, but Hero Joe is, or not Hero Joe, but Munchman always on those side lanes, so a bit more difficult to find it.
Yeah, and the fight was won by OOF, but they did get the Drake, I guess. And Soul is coming up, but it's not the end of the world right now for Essence Thieves. They are collecting solo XP in the side lane from these super minions, and there isn't a lot of extra pressure that's being applied from Essence Thieves from that super minion push, so it's kind of just like free XP right now for Orange only fans. So they're happy with that. The game is stalling out, and I think there needs to be some type of defensive tool that Kog'Maw needs to build now. 3 items, you're good for damage. You need like a QSS, you need a Guardian Angel, you need something, you need maybe Talia to build a Mikhail's Crucible. What happens is you're getting ulted and you're dying immediately, and there's not really any counterplay to it. So I think Theo here needs to build some sort of defensive item to keep himself safe, and then this Kog'Maw can really start to take over in tandem with Munchman here, these two champions that scale super hard, and Sinja also dealing as much damage as they can too. It's going to come down to the wire, and I think that needs to be the next play for Theo. Start to think about a Guardian Angel, a QSS, something to keep you alive, because as Kog'Maw right now, you have more than enough damage to rip through the team.
Yeah, you sure do. It's just what I would love to see them do is Essence Thieves just, you know, trying to do, like, sneak up here on Orange OnlyFans, but this engage is just so strong. If they find you, they're just gonna absolutely all in any of the players of Essence Thieves, since they have so much burst damage on this team. And it's just their way of finding you and of winning, and the collapse can be so incredibly fast.
The flash did have to be burned from Hero Joe, so won't have access to that ability there for this Baron fight, which is upcoming. 1 minute's time, we see it respawn. And this inhibitor's been down for quite a while, so very soon this inhib will respawn, and it won't be a problem anymore for Orange OnlyFans when it comes to relieving pressure. Talia has found D-Muda on this sort of side flank here. They're pushing in these waves. They have mid control. They should be able to take this tower. There's no one really in position to defend this. They're able to successfully get it. So a lot of the pressure right now is being applied by Orange OnlyFans, as Munchman did use the hook shot very aggressively and now might be punished for this. Does have to use the Hextech ultimatum onto Supro, but there's just not enough damage to be found there, or is there? It goes very close, but Ajuka finishes off that kill. Exhaust now onto Theo, who's trying to kite away. Does use the flash, but the flash follow from GSM is garbage into the Cataclysm, into Ajuka's damage. That's a double kill. This could mean potentially the end of the game. They have 2 people dead, and they're TPing there to defend that bot lane turret. And maybe they don't have exactly what it takes to end, but another fight win goes over to Orange OnlyFans. We'll see what they can do here.
Munchman going so deep when Sinja's just in the top lane, not at all ready to follow up. Definitely not what you wanted to see there. It does give some value over to Orange OnlyFans. Probably not as much as they would want, but they just have this Baron turn. They have this call that they can do. 2 members still dead, and they can absolutely shred this with this Kai'Sa.
Yep, they can. It's going to be theirs. They're not even going to contest it. They can't really contest it. There's nothing they can really do without their 2 strongest members in Theo and Munchman. So that is going to be the Baron to go over to Orange OnlyFans. And they're in position. 1 more good fight. And if you have your waves pushed, especially if those waves are empowered by the Baron buff, It's only going to take one more fight, and you can win this game. And this is a big game, remember. And it's been a good one. It's been very close, and it's going to come down to potentially this next fight here at the Drake. This would be Seoul for Orange Only fans if they can secure it. I do believe they're stronger right now. They have level 18 Aatrox, level 18 Lissandra. And now Dimuda's found himself a Hero Joe in the bush. Not going to be too worried about that. That's two tanks fighting up against each other. Waiting for this fight to break out. They're pushing for this. They want to go, but they can't really find the lockdown just yet. They are itching for a fight right now. All the meanwhile, Munchman is pushing on the bot side. And 22 seconds on this Cloud Drake.
Essence Thieves realizing they do not want to fight at all, just needing to bide time for this Camille, for this split push. And it's that Aatrox ready to challenge it.
Oh.
But just so much damage out of that Kai'Sa W.
Yeah.
And it is that mixed build we've talked about, having that Zhonya's.
And that Nashor's Tooth. Looking with another Fiendish Codex into another AP item. It looks like this Dragon's probably just going to go down before Hero Joe can even get there. So there's the Cloud Soul. Now they're just going to go for the fight. Theo is way overextended. Remember, doesn't have Flash. Used it in the previous play. It is going to drop, and Hero Joe's locked up with the Frozen Tomb as well. TPs are coming through, but this is those red HP bars dropping very low and gonna be depleted completely. It's already 3 kills, a triple kill for Supro. Give him the Penta or something. We need a Penta. The last one didn't go through. Oh, small PP, you villain. It doesn't matter though. Sinja actually got out. So you know what? I retract that statement. Not a villain, but a hero. No Hero Joe.
Still
that should be the game.
Sinja in the Fountain. Yeah, it definitely should be the game. This inhibitor gonna go down, and it's just those last. I mean, a majority of these team fights going the way of Orange Only fans. All they need to do now is just take out these turrets, take out the Nexus, and secure their victory. Secure themselves a higher place here on the standings, and nothing more that Essence Thieves can do as the Nexus explodes, and Orange Only fans extending themselves more points in the league.
And it's a good game from Warren's Only fans. Everyone performed quite well. You have 12-2 for Ajuka's Aatrox, 24 assists for TSM is Garbage, 22 assists for D Muda, 11-2 for Supro's Kai'Sa, and 4-1-15 from Small PPV. They performed really well. It took them a little while to finally crack the base and get what they needed to get, but they played the fights well. Their team fighting was fantastic. They had good lockdown, and they truly did deserve to win this game. They played really well, and so congratulations to Orange Only fans for pulling off the win there.
Yeah, definitely deserved it. Really just had great ideas, understood exactly what they needed to do, and how to exploit the weaknesses of Essence Thieves, and did so pretty beautifully, and it makes a lot of sense.
And that will wrap up the second game of the day, and that will close out this week and this week's stream. It was a good 2 games. We had a bloodbath game number 1, but it was still very fun. Then a very close game number 2 went down almost to the 40-minute mark, but that's going to do it for the stream today. For the casters, my name is Ferris. That was Claire. Thank you, Drubert, once again for the production. Wouldn't have a stream without the one producing the stream. And thank you to everyone who is watching the stream. Also the people at the watch party. Shout out to you guys. And hope you all enjoyed the games. And hope you all enjoyed the stream. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next week. Have a good one.